All right, well, thank you so much to our CyberVets group who asked me to be here today. So my name is Sydney Hughes. I'm a career counselor in the Career Center at CU Denver here. I also run kind of the classroom portion of the Boots to Suits program at CU Denver. And so I get the opportunity to work with our veterans who are going through this transition process all the time. I personally have a connection to the military. I was not in the military, but I have been a military spouse for a long time. And I've watched a lot of people go through this transition process. So it's very much conversations that are near and dear to my heart and things that I love to talk about. So I have a couple slides to just give you some tips and tricks for like how to navigate this event today, some things that you can do as next steps. How do you make yourself stand out after this event? But please, I also will have time at the end for a couple of questions if things are popping up as you're going into these your individual breakout rooms. So what do we do after we attend a career event? A lot of times I see students that go and they're like, I had these great conversations with recruiters, with company representatives, but like, what do I do after that? I think the benefit that you have of going to events like this is they get to put a name to a face. You are no longer just somebody who is a name on a resume. They may remember you. They may remember the conversation that you had during these different breakout sessions. So I would encourage you to send a follow-up email. Thank them for their time. Thank them for having a conversation with you or providing some insight into their company or the jobs that they have available. Maybe attach your resume or your cover letter. If there was a position that is available that you're interested in, that would be a great opportunity for you to attach that and say, I'm still really interested in this position that we talked about. And then maybe mention something that stuck out from your conversation. People are all about connection. So if you develop a connection with any of our representatives today, point that out in the email and say, it really stuck out to me that you mentioned this, or I really enjoyed having a conversation about X, Y, Z, whatever it might be. So mentioning those things can also kind of trigger that memory for them too of, oh yeah, I remember talking with this person at the CyberVets event. Maybe follow them on LinkedIn. If there are some ways that you can connect with them outside of just this fair, I think following them on LinkedIn is always a good opportunity. Following through with what you say you are going to do could look like completing a job application. So if there is something that they have available that you're interested in, follow through and complete that application. Also something that you could mention if you're sending an email. So all of those pieces kind of tie together to just strengthen that memory of being able to interact with them during this event. Connecting with them, I would think about what are the ways that you could continue to develop a connection with them after today's event. So you've had this kind of spark, you've had these conversations with them, but how can we build on that? How can we maintain that moving forward? So that could be things like sometimes sending messages on LinkedIn can also be another way to do that. We already talked about following companies on LinkedIn, but maybe asking to have a coffee chat or have a quick Zoom call or phone call with them to say, I was really interested in your company after the conversation that we had during the CyberVets event. Would you be interested in talking with me for 15 minutes, a little bit more about this position or about your organization? Things like that can also help you kind of strengthen your connection and interaction with all of our amazing folks from these wonderful companies. And sometimes doing something that's called an informational interview can also be really helpful. So an informational interview is just a real formal career term for exactly what I just mentioned, that kind of coffee chat. But the goal of an informational interview is to ask more of those questions that you have about how we get to this next career. So if you have a position in mind or a company that you want to work for, I would start thinking about what are the questions that you have that you need answered in order to pursue that. Is it, what does a day look like in this position? Or is it, how frequently are they hiring? Or when does the application come out? Or what skill sets are they looking for? what questions do you have that you need answers to in order to move forward in this career transition? And that informational interview or coffee chat can be a great way to do that, to just get some of those questions answered. And then the last part, I apologize, I'm working through a sickness, so bear with me. But the last part is what everyone mentioned in the amazing video that we listened to at the beginning of this event. Your skill sets that you have with your veteran experience are unmatched. You have so many skill sets from your experience in the military that not a lot of people have or can do as well as you in the civilian world. And so capitalize on that. So I think about, how can you demonstrate your skills, your talents, your experiences to all of these folks at our individual companies. So that could be maybe visiting your own career center, or if you're a CU Denver student, come see me in the career center. I would love to help you with your resume or your cover letter and find out how we can word things on there so that it makes sense to a civilian, so that they can understand the scope of what you did in your military experience. Maybe it is things like the follow through, sending an email, asking for a coffee chat or an informational interview, but demonstrating those things just continues to showcase that you have that discipline, you have the integrity, you have all of those things that really make you stand out. So that's it. The transferable skills, those things that everyone mentioned, that is what's going to set you apart in this process. Networking is certainly a huge part of that, but going to a career fair is more than just having that initial conversation. It's following through, it's touching base with them, it's developing and maintaining that connection. So the last thing that I just wanted to show you is all those transferable skills that you do have, those things that you really can capitalize on. Leadership, I 100% agree, is by far, I think, one of the biggest skill sets that you all come out of the military with, and it's something that truly is unmatched in the civilian sector. But there's a whole host of other things that you also probably do very, very well. Use those things, capitalize them, and really showcase that you are coming in to a new company with all of these amazing skill sets.